Aurora and Arthur Petrova, the family's summer holiday in Dover? Yeah, right. Part 2. The grand Burston looms, an abysmal eyesore, upon the gray pebbles of the Folkestone shore. It is Monday the 29th, a damp August day, where the Petrova family has chosen to stay. The decor is dated, the carpets are frayed. In this awful luxury, the children have played. Aurora, with pink glasses perched on her nose, is ready for breakfast, from her head to her toes. She first eats some leftovers, Indian and cold, with a hunger that's truly a sight to behold. Petar starts to chastise, his voice rather tart, as he watches Aurora and her culinary art. It's insufficient food, he claims with a sigh, while Aurora just looks with a glint in her eye. The irony of breakfast before breakfast is clear, as the initial morning grumbles appear. Then down to the buffet the family descends, where a mountain of pastries and cereal blends. A Victorian breakfast, a sizzle and pop, but Petar's blue glasses look ready to drop. The cacophony rises from guests in the hall, as Aurora and Arthur feel energetic and tall. Their erratic choices of eggs and of toast make Petar feel like a most disgruntled host. But back in the bedroom, a crisis is brewed, as Aurora creates a new version of food. She crafts a large sandwich, greasy and bold, with poppadoms, curry, and rice, we are told. She sits on the duvet, the parents' soft bed, but the curry leaks out in a river of red. The stain starts to mar the white linen so fair, as a heavy incense of spice fills the air. Petar is incensed, his anger takes flight, while Aurora cries, "I'm fat," in a terrible fright. Her infantile tantrum is hard to ignore, as she drops her cold poppadom onto the floor. Maria tries to maintain her calm, steady grace, despite the red sauce on her daughter's red face. The circumstance is dire, the morning is marred by a sandwich that left the white duvet so scarred. They pack the red Audi, a cramped 2009, an automatic relic that's seen better time. The boot is a puzzle, the seats are a squeeze, as they head toward Surrey with very soft ease. Petar dreams of a Range Rover, spacious and grand, as opposed to this substandard car in his hand. He feels the Audi is quite an inferior beast, especially when driving to a grand Surrey feast. To Cobham they travel, to a party so grand, the finest celebration in all of the land. The monotony of the motorway starts to set in, above the engine's most tedious din. Maria and Aurora sit tight in the back, with a lack of legroom and a lack of a snack. The sibilant sound of the tires on the road accompanies the family and their heavy load. They arrive at the house of the Mazandaranis, far away from the hotel and its dismal nannies. The garden is spacious. The grass is so green, the most beautiful party that they've ever seen. Jimmy and Pula are hosting the day, for a birthday and anniversary. Hip hip hooray! The family is elate as they step from the car, under the light of a high midday star. The feast is ecstatic, a global delight, with Iranian flavors that shine very bright. Aurora is exhilarated by all of the food, which puts her in a much more enthusiastic mood. But Syed Abimand, with a voice soft and sweet, asks Aurora why she seems to be in retreat. "What's wrong, darling Aurora?" he asks with a sigh, as a flicker of sadness appears in her eye. But Aurora is restless. She spies the TV. The TiVo box calls her, "Come play now with me." She longs to watch films in the cool of the den, away from the talk of the women and men. But Funke is there, with a firm, steady hand, to thwart any plans that Aurora had planned. "No telly for you," she declares with a veto, as Aurora's mood sinks like a heavy torpedo. Then Aurora seeks Hyacinth, baby on knee, to ask of a secret she's desperate to see. Has Olympia pooed? she inquires with a grin, as the talk of the nappy is about to begin. She's obsessed with the contents, a strange, smelly quest which puts Hyacinth's patience right to the test. She wants to see Pooh, she insists with a shout, until she is told what the nappy's about. Petar and Mariha watch from the lawn, feeling the weight of the day they have drawn. Her behavior is appalling, Petar declares, as he watches the guests and their surprised stares. It's bad enough that she ruined the bed. Now she wants to see nappies, he says, turning red. Mariha just sighs at the stuff and nonsense she hears as the sun on the garden slowly disappears. Syed tries to talk to the father so grim, but Petar has no time for a chat with him. That darling is redundant. Petar snaps with a glare, adding a layer of tension to the warm summer air. He seeks to alienate those who are kind, with a grumpy and sharp-edged peculiar mind. Syed looks confused by the hostile reply, as the calm before the storm starts to pass by. Aurora and Arthur then bicker and fight, as the afternoon sun starts to lose all its light. "You're juvenile," Arthur tells her with a sneer, which is the last thing Aurora wants now to hear. She mimics his voice with a petulant face, running around in a fast, frantic pace. Their squabble is loud and their temper is short, far from the exemplary kids they were taught. The time comes to leave, for the party must end, with the scent of the barbecue starting to blend. Petar is livid, his patience is spent, on a daughter whose energy is misplaced and bent. He finds her loquacious and far too intense. Her talk of the baby's poo makes no sense. They head to the car as the evening grows cold, with a story of tantrums yet to be told. The journey back home is a somber affair, with a heavy, thick silence that hangs in the air. But then Mariha gasps as she looks at the door, a sight that she simply cannot ignore. "There's chewing gum here," she cries with a shout, "on the fabric and handle, both in and out." The mood in the Audi starts to deteriorate fast, as the peace of the party is a thing of the past. "Who did this?" Petar roars, his ire in full bloom, as the small car is filled with a sense of dark doom. Aurora stays reticent, quiet and still, though her guilt is a mountain, a massive, steep hill. It's an atrocious act, a vandalized car. Petar's fury has traveled quite unusually far. He's incensed by the gum and the stain on the bed, with final straw thoughts filling up his tired head. On the hard shoulder, the car comes to rest, as Petar decides he has failed every test. He's reached the very brink of his limited grace, with a look of pure fury etched onto his face. The motorway lorries go whoosh as they fly, under the weight of a dark, stormy sky. The peril is real for Aurora tonight, as she trembles with fear in the flickering light. He delivers a slap for her conduct so poor, as the wind from the lorries begins now to roar. Aurora is sobbing, her glasses are wet, for the thing she has done she'll quickly regret. Arthur is quiet, he's stunned by the scene, of a father so angry and a daughter so mean. The pathetic fallacy of the rain on the pane mirrors the tears of her sorrow and pain. Back at the hotel, the room has been cleaned by a staff that is better than Petar had dreamed. The bed is now vacant of stains and of red, but a new kind of misery hangs overhead. The awful luxury feels hollow and cold as the night and its secrets begin to unfold. Mariha is weary, her patience is slack, as they bring all their bags and their grievances back. Aurora wants play. She wants the grand hall, to run and to jump and to bounce a small ball. But the ballroom is barred, she is told with a frown, which brings her already dismayed spirits down. It is out of bounds, Petar says with a glare. Under no circumstances will you go there. Her request is denied. It falls on deaf ears, leading to more of her inconsolable tears. "Can we go swimming?" she asks with a plea. "I want to jump into the water, you see." But Maria says, "No, it's not on our list. A shopping trip tomorrow must not be missed." The itinerary is set, the decision is firm, as Aurora begins to wiggle and squirm. "It's not fair," she protests. "I hate shopping trips," with a petulant quiver of both of her lips. In a moment of fury, she picks up the tech, determined to turn poor Arthur into a wreck. She swings the silver laptop, so fragile and thin, and thwacks her young brother right under the chin. The click-clack of keys as the computer is hit shows Aurora has lost every ounce of her wit. Arthur is hurt. He lets out a cry as a ton of new trouble begins now to fly. To top matters off, she finds one more way to ruin the end of this horrendous day. She wipes a fresh piece of her gum on the hem of Maria's bright dress, a real holiday gem. Maria is incensed. She's reached the very end of the love and the patience she's trying to extend. "This is the final straw," she says with a shout, as she wonders what Aurora is thinking about. A quiet word from Petrova, a lecture so stern about all the lessons Aurora must learn. She's reduced to more tears. Her spirit is spent as she feels the full weight of the day, and it's bent. She crawls into the big bed, crestfallen and small, wishing she hadn't done anything at all. She cries herself to sleep in the adult's soft light as the Dover holiday fades into the night.